Good evening and welcome to session 6 of CPAC Summer School. This session will be on leadership. This is a 10-part series for interested parents who are maybe CPAC leaders or want to get more involved with their CPAC to learn a little bit more about the role and function of a CPAC. My name is Leslie, and I'm with the Federation for Children with Special Needs, and I run the MassPAC project, which supports parent leaders throughout the state. So our workshop objectives for tonight will be that all the participants will be able to define leadership as it relates to themselves, understand different leadership styles and qualities, identify your own strengths and skills so that you can put them to work as a leader. Hopefully you can model systems advocacy and make some change in your school districts. And I also think all leaders should plan for succession so that they plan for people to take on and carry on the work that's so important. Do you see yourself as a leader? I think we all need to look in the mirror and see, do you have those leadership qualities? And sometimes they're developing, sometimes you have strengths in certain areas and not in others. But I think everyone can lead. And there's always a role for someone in a CPAC to serve on a subcommittee or do a chore that the executive board doesn't have the time to do. And that's an opportunity for you to develop some leadership skills. So I invite all parents to step up to the plate and to lead in a small way to kind of build your skills. There can be all different kinds of leaders, and I love these quotes because it really speaks to a leader as somebody who tries to make a difference, who tries to bring people together, to try to teach others, and to share in their power or their control over something so that others can gather information and move forward. It's really about how do you serve a group and how do you help it move forward to accomplish its goals and its mission. I really think that everyone probably has a different sense of leadership, and I suggest that you reach out to somebody that you admire, who's a leader, read through some of their quotes and their writings, and find something that stands out for you, that embodies what leadership means to you, and to print out that quote and put it on the wall, put it on your desktop, your fridge, and then it's something that can help you as you move forward working on your leadership skills. There are so many different leadership styles. I chose this one because I just like the graphic way that it was laid out. There are many different styles. These are emotional styles. And I think as a leader, you'll move into different types of leadership styles depending on the situation. The commanding situation, which I love these, they talk about leadership style in a phrase, do what I tell you. Well, that's a very domineering, almost can be deemed negative type of style. But if you were in a fire, you really want somebody to step up to the plate and to kind of cut through a lot of the anxiety and say, do this, this is how we're gonna go. Everybody leave this out this doorway. And they take command in a crisis and turn a problem into action. And so in the right situation, the commanding style would be appropriate. But I think as you look at these leadership styles, you want to gravitate to the ones that in the overall impact on the group's climate have a positive tone. It's a more collaborative, team building, relationship building style of leadership. And that is really what a CPAC's all about. It's bringing people together. It's listening to lots of different voices and really have a sense of everybody has some buy-in into it. That would be the most effective leadership style, but everyone has their own leadership style. And in fact, a lot of CPACs have co-chairs or tri-chairs, and so people bring lots of talents to the plate. So this is just a model and a way for you to look at different types of leadership styles. And you may get along with some people because of their leadership style, or or not. So we'll have to work with all different kinds of people. And I think this is just kind of a way to look to see where they're coming from and what their leadership style is. And which fits you personally. So I really think everyone should really know, you understand your own personality. How do you like to work with a group? What are your key values? And you need to be around other people that have those same values. I think with a CPAC, having a defined mission statement or a purpose statement that you all can endorse and use as your guidepost is really key and really important. So it doesn't really matter what leader steps up, you're following that mission, you're following your sense of purpose and where you're going with that group. I think all leaders should be aware of their weaknesses, and that's a great opportunity for you to invite people to your leadership team to kind of fill in those areas of weaknesses. We all don't know how to do everything, and that way you can bring people in with different strengths and to kind of meet your weak areas, and still provide strong support for your CPAC. Every leader should look for feedback all the time. How did the meeting go? Did it work for you? Was this event helpful? We do a lot of evaluation forums at the Federation, and I think any type of feedback helps you become a better organization and a better leader. So be open and available for feedback from others, and learn from other leaders. When our CPAC was starting out, in my community, a group of us went and visited other CPAC meetings and learned from those leaders. We watched them in action, we watched those groups in action, and we kind of picked what we liked and what we didn't like based on learning from others. And that's just a very inexpensive way to kind of get some leadership skills and some experience. And it's really nice to also make partnerships and connections to other CPACs in your area. So it's all good, and learn from others. So this was a slide I chose because I think it identified in some simple terms what some of the characteristics of a good leader are. And as you are a parent, being involved in a CPAC group or another decision-making group or other parent group in your community, you are often asked to vote for, choose a leader in an election. And I think these are some of the traits that you should be looking for. An integrity, an ability to delegate. We all can't do everything. Who can delegate? Who can share the leadership role? Can they communicate? Do they have some self-awareness as to who they are, where they're going? Do they have gratitude? Are they agile in terms of switching back and forth? We all need to be flexible in this day and age, especially as we move to a remote world. It's not for everyone. And so, just figuring out how you need to learn new skills or to bring others on board to help you move your CPAC forward. How much influence that leader has within the community, and can that influence be beneficial to the group? Empathy for all of those in the group. There's a lot of, I think, special relationships that are built in CPACs among parents of children with special needs, and understanding that sometimes people don't always have the bandwidth to get involved at a certain level because their child might be struggling. And so understanding the position of others and how the group is going. Courage, oh yes. It's not easy to stand in front of a school committee meeting and talk about difficult issues in your community. And doing it virtually, I think, is even more so. So I think courage is a great skill to look for in a leader. And respect for the process, respect for all those involved, whether they be parents, administrators, community leaders. I think these are all some of the things you should be looking for in a good leader. And if you're trying to become a leader in your community, these are some of the skills that I think you should be working on and addressing, especially if you have a weakness in an area, so that you can, develop some more skills and attributes that people will see and recognize you as a leader. And then also lends itself to the respect that you will get in public forums when you speak about the issues before a CPAC. So some of the best practices, just as we've been talking tonight, so a good leader will recognize the strengths of their members and bring those people on board, assign them to committees, get them working, get them going. A leader who can delegate and use the strength of the organization will really have a lot of members, getting involved, buying in, and feeling like they're part of the group. If there are some weaknesses among the members, how do you address that? And that might be in some of the learning areas around special education, providing workshops or bringing in people to talk to parents about some of the areas that they need more knowledge based on, resources, using your social media to push out information so that your members are constantly learning and constantly getting some good resources from your group. How do you motivate members? And that's really key. I think we're all so busy and people pick and choose the things they get involved with. You have to make your CPAC a place that people really want to come to, that their time is used wisely, that they feel like they're involved and they have a role. So that's really a great practice of a chair or co-chair to motivate the membership. Providing feedback to all of the groups that they're involved with. And the leader should be in a constant, like a continuous loop cycle of trying something out, getting feedback, providing feedback to others about things that they're doing, so that it all becomes like a well-oiled machine. Encouraging input. Sometimes it's hard to hear that other people have different ideas than you do. And so you just really need to be open and be a good listener. I talked a little bit about that flexibility earlier, and in these times, with guidance changing every day, plans changing, things are flying and changing on a day-to-day, if not a week-by-week basis. So having flexibility to just kind of roll with the punches, get back up and say, okay, what are we going to do today based on what's in front of us? And I really think that you've got to be as transparent as possible. Your decision-making should be open. Your data collection should be shared. That you are really demonstrating that this is all something that's a group kind of movement, and you're gathering information and sharing it with others. And if you can be transparent, people will trust the data and the information that you bring forward. So using all of these tools, I hope that parent leaders can be the change that they want to see in the world, that they model systems advocacy. And sometimes that means sharing your story. We at the Federation always advise families that a story is so powerful. It reads so much better than just pure numbers and data. And so if you're comfortable sharing real world experiences of your family, of your student, and sometimes you can make it a little bit more confidential and share a generic story, but it's really how the system is working for you or not working. You can share a good story of how something is working for your child, and bring that data to a system so that they know, okay, this was worthwhile, this was worth our investment, and we're going to continue in it because we have this data, this anecdote, this story to say that it is working for families. That means also suggesting ideas for improving services, not just always saying this is wrong, this isn't working. Bring ideas to the table. That's how systems really reflect change and move forward, and encouraging others to participate and to share. People do have an impact. And I think if you ever have seen a working leadership body like a school committee, they react well when someone comes forward with a personal story, be a parent, a student, an educator, and they listen more intently. And so that helps you kind of make those systems changes. Just one method. So all leaders should always have a plan of how things are going to continue after they step down from leadership. A lot of leaders step into the role, they do a great job, people keep electing them, and nobody else steps forward because the leader's doing a really, really good job. But how many years can that go on? I think the leader will probably have a little bit of burnout. And I also think you're kind of putting a damper on new ideas coming forward. So I suggest to CPACs that they have some type of leadership term for their executive board so that people don't stay in the same role for too many terms and have a term limit. I think all leaders should be mentoring and supporting new leaders, bringing them on board in small roles so that they feel more confident and they learn as they go. All CPACs should be keeping really good records and documenting all your practices so that there's kind of a game plan for somebody as they move into a new leadership role. They can change and move things in a new direction or have a different methodology for doing things, but having a record of what worked, what didn't work, and documenting some successful practices is just like having a game plan, and they don't have to reinvent the wheel. It really helps bring new people into the fold. I think CPAC leaders who are kind of stepping down from their chair role should stay and support, but not really lead. So really, how do you go into the background? You might sit as on that board as the former chair and provide support, but you just really sometimes have to let the new voice move forward. And that means sometimes just, keeping silent and letting new leaders kind of move things forward, maybe in a new direction or a different direction than where you thought your group would go. But I think you have to trust that everyone has new ways of doing things, and sometimes we have to be open to change. That's that flexibility again. So you really should allow your CPAC group to go in new directions. So last time when we did family engagement, Cambria, Russell did this wonderful thing where we talked about all the words that go into, what does family engagement mean? And here's what leadership really means. There's so many things. You can be inspiring, you can direct, you can delegate, but you're really creating trust and appreciation and collaboration. You're empowering others. You have responsibility, but you should be sharing this responsibility. And that leads to the success and motivates others. So there's lots of hats you wear as a manager, as a team member, as an expert, but sometimes you have to step back and let others take a role so that you have a really vibrant group. As you go along, learning about leadership, there are a couple of great resources that are online that are free. The first one is Leading by Convening, which is a really nice blueprint for how to engage, how to lead, how to bring others to the table and coalesce around issues so that you have a group support and you can move that forward. When everyone's in agreement, has the same vision, has the same set of tools that they want to move things forward, it works better, and you have a more cohesive and stronger position when you go in front of different bodies. The other curriculum that I love is Serving on Groups, and that's a online curriculum that's in different sections. You can do a section at a time. It's very user-friendly. It's available online in English and in Spanish. And it just, for those of you who are new to a group, being part of a group, being part of a group's leadership, it really just breaks it down into lots of different steps and makes it very accessible. And you can just kind of do that a module at a time. So those are two free online leadership types of resources that you can access. You can even use it to share with your CPAC. If there was a section that you wanted to talk about, or you felt your CPAC was struggling, it's one of the weaker areas, you could bring this curriculum to your CPAC and use it as a meeting. You don't always have to have a professional speaker at one of your meetings. You can use some of these online resources and use that to do like a internal class for your CPAC. So I'm all about free, and these are free resources. So that's the end of leadership. Leadership is such an important part of your CPAC to bring in a sense of where it stands within your community and how to, be a presence in the different arenas where you will be advising your school district, whether it's in the superintendent's type of office or in one of their meetings or at the school committee or in other areas in the community. The CPAC should be a leader for families and children with special needs, and I think the people who are involved in the CPAC should be working on their leadership skills to be able to best represent the interests and the concerns of families. So next week we'll be doing understanding your district and data, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.